Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Today it's Tag Tuesday, so I'm here with a tag, and I'm going to do the tag that so many people have been doing lately, and that is the 2019 mid-year Booktube Freakout tag. Mid-year Freakout book tag? Now I can't remember. I was tagged by Lukas from Totally Pretentious and by Alex from WhatPageAreYouOn. Thank you, gentlemen, for the tags. I will leave links to their videos for this tag down below. And so let's get right to it. I have a feeling this is going to be a relatively fast tag for me because a lot of this tag focuses on new releases, and really until just this moment I hadn't realized how few new releases I read. As a matter of fact, I don't think I read a book that was a new release for 2019. Anyway, here we go. So prompt number one, or question number one, best book you've read so far in 2019. That would be James Baldwin's If Beale Street Could Talk. I just love this book. I'm reading a book right now, which I might talk about a little bit later on, which might knock it off of that position, but really for right now, this is easily my favorite book of the year, and as you can see, it's definitely a backlist book. Question number two, best sequel you've read this year. I don't think I've read a sequel. Oh, wait, that's not true. I have. Hang on. I have read a sequel. I read Book 2 of March, which is obviously the sequel to Book 1 of March, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Prompt 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. I can't think of one. I really don't keep up with new releases very well. Prompt 4, most anticipated forthcoming releases. Again, I don't keep up with new releases, and I'm oftentimes just surprised when authors I like have new books out. So I kind of feel bad, but I couldn't think of one. And I feel like if I had to look up, a book that was going to be a new release this year, then I obviously haven't been anticipating it because I didn't know about it. Prompt 5, biggest reading disappointment of the year so far. For me, that was Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan. I like Jennifer Egan. I think she's a good writer, and the writing in this is good. I just kind of thought that she included some stuff in this book that didn't need to be included, and she pursued plot lines that didn't need to be pursued, and then I felt like there's kind of a plot twist at the end which kind of ruins a lot of the other stuff in the book. So that would be my most disappointing read. Let's see, prompt number 6, biggest surprise. My biggest surprise is how much I like Proust. I read the first 2 volumes of Remembrance of Things Past this year for Marching Mammoths Month, or March of the Mammoths Month, and I was surprised by how much I liked it. It wasn't an easy read, but I liked it, and there was stuff in it that really impressed me and really touched me, and really, I just thought, this is amazing stuff. So I was surprised by how much I liked Remembrance of Things Past. Prompt 7, your favorite debut work of the year so far. Okay, well, I don't think I've read a debut author whose book came out in 2019, but I have read I did read this year, Ohio by Stephen Markley, and this was the debut that he published, or his debut, which came out last year. So as a technicality, this is the favorite debut novel I read this year, even though it came out in 2018. Prompt number 8, newest fictional crush. And this isn't really new, it's just that my crush has been renewed, and that is my crush on Louise Erdrich. I'm reading Love Medicine right now. That'll be the 3rd Louise Erdrich novel that I've read. I should be finished with it relatively soon, and I just think she's amazing. So she's my fictional crush, even though she's not fictional, she writes fiction, so I may have screwed this up. Prompt number 9 is your favorite new character. Is that right? Yes, newest favorite fictional character. That would be Ernestine, Tish's sister from If Beale Street Could Talk. She's brashy, she's loud, she's outspoken, she's strong. She won't back down in the face of any man or any woman or any situation. And she is a fierce defender of her sister and her family. And I just was enthralled with Ernestine as a character. Prompt number 10, a book that made you cry. Sing Unburied Sing. The scene at the end where the grandmother dies and they're ghosts and family members, it's just really powerful, and it moved me to tears, not necessarily running down my face tears, but definitely tears in my eyes tears. Prompt number 11. A book that made me happy, the March series of graphic novels about my favorite congressman, one of my personal heroes, John Lewis, about his participation as a very young man and his leadership as a very young man in the civil rights movement. Reading these graphic novels in February made me really happy. Prompt number 12, favorite book to film adaptation so far. Okay, if I read very few new releases, I go to even fewer movies. And I happen to oftentimes have a hard time even remembering what movies I've gone to. So I'm going to go with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I think technically came out last year in December, but I don't think I saw it until January. If you haven't seen it, this is my favorite superhero movie. This is me saying that, and I don't care for the superhero movies because I just get tired of the tropes and the setup and the kind of formulaic nature of them. But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a really inventive animated movie which blends all kinds of animation stuff together, and it is a really remarkable movie. I think it might have actually won an Oscar for whatever category it was in this year. But that would be my adaptation from the Spider-Man comics of that movie. Let's see, prompt number 13. Favorite review you've written so far? Well, I didn't write it, but I did a review on Booktube, and that was my review of Nightwood by Juno Barnes. This is a modernist novel written in the 1930s by a modernist author, and it seemed like when I decided to read it, it was going to be one of those things that I really liked, one of those things just kind of right up my alley, Doris instead of street, because the time period was set, and the fact that Juno Barnes was an American expatriate who lived in Paris, and I love, like a lot of reading people, I love that time period, but I really just didn't like it, and I was kind of proud of myself for not convincing myself that it was some great work of art and that I needed to think about harder and to really get. I just didn't like it, and I think I said that in my review, even though there were some good things in it. And then prompt number 14, the most beautiful book you've acquired so far this year. Again, I'm cheating a little bit. I got this after Christmas with some money I got to buy books, but that's the library book by Susan Orlean. And it's a book without a dust jacket. It's like an actual book in the library. It's got texture, it's got the hardcover, it's got the library printing, and it's got the really cool graphic of like the old card system you used to use to check out books in the back. I just think it's a beautiful book, and I really thought it was really clever, so that's my most beautiful book. And then prompt 15, which books do you need to read before year's end? Well, I've committed myself to some read-alongs and some buddy reads for the very first time, so that means I have to read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which I'm buddy reading with Lukas in July. I have to reread Light in August, which I'm buddy reading with Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. I've signed up for the Thomas Covenant read-along. Me and Steve Donahue are doing that along with Richardson Reads and Remembered Reads and Joseph Francis Burton are all doing the Thomas Covenant read-along of that kind of classic fantasy series from the 1970s. There's 6 volumes of that, so I'll be reading that until December. I'm also buddy reading the 2 Lives. It's 2 novellas by William Trevor. I'm buddy reading the first one of those, reading Turgenev, there we go, in July with Sean the Book Maniac. And I need to read John le Carré because I have plans to do a buddy read with Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse. And I've kind of halfway obligated myself to read Dune sometime in July as well. And I think I'm forgetting somebody and something. But those are books that I need to read. Oh yeah, I'm going to read, pretty sure that Jay Shea and I are going to buddy read Cousin Pons by Honoré de Balzac in, I want to say, October? Yeah, I think it's in October. So those are books I have to read by the end of the year. Again, you'll notice that there are not any new releases there because apparently I'm not a new releases kind of guy. Anyway, I've been paying attention to Booktube, and it seems like, about 1 million people have already done this tag. So this is me, Brian from Bookish, tagging you, if you haven't been tagged, to do this tag. It's pretty fun, even though I didn't have answers to some of the questions. Look forward to your comments in the comment section. As always, thank you for watching.